What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast, episode 190. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside two of the coolest dudes in video games, Jared Petty.
Doki Doki.
And Steve Bowling from Nintendo Life.
What's up, everyone? Yeah! Thanks for having me.
Now, many people know you, of course, from choking at the PAX tournament.
Yeah.
This was covered in depth, of course, on the pre-show. When it was discovered, we never posted the PAX tournament video. We're going to get on that.
Yeah, we got to get on that.
Yeah, we're bad at this.
Right,
There's
well,
too many things
calm
going
down,
on.
right?
It's okay.
You
My
calm
shame
down.
shall live forever.
Steve, here's what I want you to do, though.
Sure.
Give me the pitch here. Tell me about your career. You're the U.S. editor in Nintendo Life.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, being U.S. editor at Nintendo Life means that I put together all of our coverage for the States insofar as, I coordinate getting review copies for our review team here in America, because we're headquartered out in the UK. So
Gotcha.
Darren, Damien, Alex, all our executive staff, if you will, are out there. So I handle E3, the PAXs, media events that happen here in America, while they handle literally everything else. But yeah, most of it is just managing relationships with publishers, doing U.S.-based coverage. So if we get something that they can't get out there, we handle it here.
So for Nintendo Life, is it more reviews? Is it more news? Is it equal sides?
It's definitely equal. So
Okay.
so we have we'll post obviously anything Nintendo related news-wise. We do reviews of as many games as we can handle with the staff that we have. We used to try to do everything, but now with the Switch being popular, that is way too hard.
With the Wii U days, it was super easy.
No, it was. I remember we reviewed Meme Run, so
Oh, wow.
clearly we had some time
You had
on our
some
hands. Now things are a little busier.
Have you seen, I guess, with the uptick in Nintendo's resurgence in popularity,
Sure.
with people caring about the Switch, has that been reflected on the website?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our traffic is way up since the Switch came out.
Yeah.
We're easily the largest Nintendo-centric website in the world. We get about 3 million unique visitors a month, 12 million page views a month, which a couple years ago we were maybe half that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely gone way up since the Switch came out.
Has it opened up new opportunities for you there? Like
Oh,
new things you're able
absolutely.
to do? Yeah.
We talked to Bethesda. I mean, just digest that for a moment. Like Bethesda talking to a Nintendo site. Would you have guessed that 5 years ago? Probably
no.
not.
Great
So
one.
yeah, we get, it's weird when we get hit up by companies that traditionally steered away from Nintendo, and now we're kind of having to meet new people and make friends with new people in the industry and cover new things that we weren't even really thinking about before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
So now, I think whenever we bring somebody new on the shows, there's so many people trying to do what we do or exist in the same ecosystem as either be a reviewer or a personality, however you want to describe it. What was your journey to where you are now? How long have you been professionally writing about video games?
Sure. So I've only been doing it about 6 years.
Nice.
I started out when my first daughter was about to be born. So, 6 years ago, she's 5 now. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to play games anymore. So I wanted to have a way to stay connected to what I love. And so I decided to start writing about them. At the time, Kotaku had a small community blog where anyone could write whatever they want.
nice.
And so I signed up there and started writing little articles just about, Miiverse and stuff like that. And it grew into, I discovered that I really enjoyed it and wanted to go further with that. So I ended up finding a small local controller shop in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah.
And they let me do a tour and take pictures. And I wrote up a really in-depth article about it. And Tina Amini from Kotaku at the time.
Friend of the show, Tina.
Yeah,
Amini.
friend of the show. Noticed the article and liked it and shared it on Kotaku's main page. And from there, it got tens of thousands of views and many people telling me I'm stupid. And
On the internet?
weird.
Sure.
Andy,
Like,
can you
never
fact check this? Are people mean on the internet?
Yeah, I'll look into
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, after that, I started just writing more and more, and I started conversing with Tina about the possibility of doing freelance work, and she gave me the great opportunity to write one of my favorite pieces I've ever written, which was about the parry mechanic in Street Fighter 3 and how much I just love it. And I don't know if you've ever seen Evo Moment 47 where Daigo,
Yep.
is down to like a sliver of life and full parries Justin Wong's super and then destroys him, and people lose their damn minds about the whole thing. But it was basically an article centered around that and what made that moment so great.
That's where I first became familiar with you, was that article, actually. I didn't know that was you until today when you walked in and told that story. I had not connected reading that article with the fact that you wrote it till today. But That is still one of my all-time favorite things that was ever on Kotaku. It's a great article.
Oh,
People
thank
should go
you.
read it.
Thank you. Thank you. You hear that, Kotaku? just saying. Hi, Steven. Tina left, and she went on to different things. I won't say bigger and better. I still love you,
She
Kotaku.
washed out. No one knows where she ended up.
Yeah, no one knows what
Where she
happened to
landed.
her.
It's
They should really do a Where Are They Now?
Yeah, exactly. Fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, she was on here, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, she runs IGN's editorial.
Yeah. She's running the biggest site in the world. But so she left, and that stream kind of dried up. New management wasn't really interested in syndicating my stuff, so I started writing for Nintendo Life, just reviewing anything they would let me review. And from there, I decided to, and I was telling Jared this in between shows, I flew out to New York on my own dime to go to the Switch reveal event.
Yeah.
And I ended up hitting up Rich George, former IGN.
Sure, friend of the show.
Yeah, and told him, hey, I'm gonna go to New York, and I would just love to look at the Switch. And he graciously let me in with a couple friends that I snuck in. Sorry, Rich. And I wrote a bunch of articles and showed them off to the guys running Nintendo Life, and they were like, holy shit, why don't you come do this more in a greater capacity? So since then, I've been
awesome.
Doing it more professionally and loving every minute of it.
Is it your job? Do you have another job, or are you just writing? Or are you just making the video game stuff work?
Right now, I am just making the video game stuff work.
That's awesome. That's
Rad.
awesome. I saw you're on Twitter this week, I think, right? Where you're like, this is your first ever IGN article just went up, right?
Right. So again, those relationships, Tina Meany hit me up and asked me if I wanted to do something about Mega Man bosses for the release of 11.
Calm down, Jared. Calm down.
I get you'll never work for IGN again.
Jared is going to get you blackballed for running too many Mega Man 8 bosses.
There are 3 Mega Man 8 bosses in your list of the top 10 Mega Man bosses.
And they're amazing bosses, man.
You know what? This is a sad state of affairs.
This is America.
Again, it's the internet. You can't have different opinions, Steve.
Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about. I was teasing about this earlier on the show today, but I think it's pretty rad that you made such a bold move. What a splash.
Oh, thank you.
Coming in. So,
That's
what are you going to
awesome.
write next?
Whatever they ask me to.
Who's paying? What do they want? That's what I'm doing.
What was Dave Chappelle's line? Drank Pepsi more recently, so tastes better.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every I've never had to redo it on the fly, right? Because Tim, of course, is in a monkey forest for like 2 weeks. Nobody knows what's happening to him.
Monkey forest.
Each and every Friday on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, we put up a new episode of the Gamescast and talk about the things we love in the world of video games. If you don't want to give us any bucks on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, that's fine. We put it up as one big audio file and video file on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the globe each and every Monday. However, your support on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames really helps us out. You can go there. You can, for $1, watch us record it live like so many of you are now. You get the pre-show. You get the post-show. You get to hang out. Of course, you get the pre and post show as the video on that big Friday. Nowhere else is it available. Housekeeping for you. Today we have Patreon producers Warren Moore, Eric Heitz, and Tom Bach. There. All keeping the ship going by supporting us on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. There's no sponsor today, so let's just say patreon.com/kindoffunnygames is the sponsor, all right?
All right.
Go over there, help people. What did you say?
I said morning show. Let's put the morning show.
You want the morning show to support this? No, the Patreon, all right? Here's the thing. I'll be dead in the ground before I ever fucking support or promote Nick Scarpino's shows.
Are you still
all
mad
right?
because you win
Amen.
Mobile Gamer bullshit?
I don't want to talk about that, Jared. All right? I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about verification on Instagram. I just want to point
Wait, is
out...
Nick verified too?
No, it's just him, but Nick continues to point it out in the morning shows. And then I get many people tweeting me about it.
I don't know what that's all about.
I don't like that. Is this part of you? Did
No,
you do that?
I have no idea. No idea.
Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. If you like the content we make, it helps keep the mics and lights on. And then, of course, Extra Life 2018 is November 3rd. We'll be streaming games and shenanigans for 24 hours as we raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. Join or donate now over at kindoffunny.com/Extra Life.
That's exciting.
I love Extra Life.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fantastic.
exciting.
I'm working on getting some cool stuff for that. Then, of course, this is the first Gamescast, right? Since we announced that we're doing a press conference.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a lot of work, it turns out.
By the way,
turns out that's a lot of work.
I've seen the screenshots of your email on Twitter,
And
man.
it's only worse,
think
dude.
you,
It's only worse. And now it's gone so long. Now I'm getting the emails again of like, hey, did you get my email? And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Do you need help sorting through that stuff?
I need you to
up.
stop trying to steal this from me, Jared.
I'm not
All
trying
right?
to steal it. Just trying to help.
Just sit your ass down.
Thank you.
might-
Every fucking show he's on, he talks about Red Dead Radio.
I do.
Every time he talks about Hop, Live, and Jump and all the
Also
great
true.
videos he's making. He's talking about how Red Dead's coming up and I'm looking at you, Andy. Talking about this stuff, you know what I mean? He's talking about Red Dead Radio and how successful it is and everybody should
All
subscribe
true.
to it. You know, you find Jared Petty on the internet and get that stuff. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I know. He mentions that all the time. He's a terrible guy. Really obnoxious.
Patreon.com/Jared Petty.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd
Mine's
be the
pretty
best.
good.
Or just reddeadradio.com. If you want to give it, it'll go right there too.
The numbers are exploding, you're saying?
It's been a really good few days.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Now it's just finding a way to monetize it. I'm getting the views now. Now I
Sure.
just got to see if I can get the support to keep it going.
Sure.
So that's where we're at right now.
Maybe one day patreon.com/kindoffunnygames will sponsor you too, but maybe not today. Time to talk about what we've been playing. Andy, I know you have to go assemble some Gundams, so I don't want to waste any more of your time.
Serious work.
What have you been playing?
I decided to give Forza Horizon 4 a go.
Oh.
And totally not in my that's just not something I do. I don't play racing games.
Yeah.
I talked on Twitter about how the last racing game I played was Need for Speed Underground.
Sure.
On
Yeah.
PS2. It's been so long since I've given a shit about this world.
Of course, there was a subreddit thread on the Kind of Funny subreddit about,
Yeah.
hey, why aren't they talking about Forza Horizon? And many people were just like, well, they're not into racing games.
Yeah, and then
you chimed in.
I commented, yeah, I thought about playing it. But last night I saw that it was free on Game Pass.
Sure.
And so I decided to download it, and I am having a lot of fun with it. It's hard to describe what I like about it, okay? Because I'm just not an authority on racing games. So I don't know.
You don't need to worry about that. No one's.
I don't know. I'm sure a lot of stuff in this game was in the prior iteration of the game. But
what is hooking you? Don't throw that away. If somebody wants compared to the last couple games, they'll get that.
There's
at
always
IGN or
these
something.
shiny numbers that pop up on the top to let you know how you're doing, Greg. And
Okay.
it's that instant that dopamine hit. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure, yeah, yeah.
Anytime
Instant improvements.
anytime you drift, it's popping up, and it's like, hey, good job. It's just a lot of compliments. I
So
just
for
need
you, this is Forza Horizon Candy Crush?
I need some positive reinforcement in my life.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, Jared Petty. Okay. And so. Yeah, it reminds me of the things I love about driving in Grand Theft Auto, where I find a straightaway and I just go as fast as I can. There's a lot of things around the world, and I love the idea of the open world racing game. Ever since Diddy Kong Racing on 64,
Sure.
I love the idea that you're going to hubs and you're not just, all right, let me go to a menu, select the next thing I want to do. It's gorgeous to look at. I'm playing on an Xbox One X, so playing it in 4K. I don't know if it's true 4K or not, but it looks gorgeous. Or you could switch to performance mode, which is 1080p, 60 frames per second, and it's gorgeous regardless of what you pick because the HDR just pops really well if you have a really nice TV. All of the events around the world where it's maybe you want to do a dirt race and you sort of climb up the ladder and they're saying, hey, whoa, who's this new racer in town? Blah blah blah. Yeah. You're going through the different seasons, so you start off in the spring. And the world looks one way, and then you go into the fall circuit, and you have to get a certain amount of... God, I can't think of the word right now. It's
For the record,
reputation points.
I think you go to the summer circuit probably next, right?
No, okay, you started off in summer, sorry. And then you go to the fall, and then now I'm in the winter circuit or whatever.
Sure.
And I found myself playing for 5 hours last night, where it's
That's
just, I
crazy.
want to go to the next race. I want to see what I can unlock. You eventually get a little house, and where all your vehicles get stored, and in there you can customize the vehicles. It has this really cool system of, it's almost like loot boxes, I guess it is, but it's you spin a wheel. It's kind of like I don't know, like Wheel of Fortune or something.
Sure. Are you spending money on it?
No,
Okay.
no. This is all stuff that I've just earned in the game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time you spin it, you can maybe unlock a shirt for your avatar, or you can, if you're lucky, land on an epic or legendary car. And so they have the sort of cars, classed out like they do, weapons in, RPGs and stuff like
Right.
that. You have the common, the epic, the common, the rare, epic, and the legendary. And so you can use reputation points. That's not the right word, but it's kind of like reputation when you drive around. And
Sure, you're earning
Yeah.
that kind of
you're
XP.
earning XP, I guess. And you can use those points to maybe buy 100,000 point Aston Martin or the James Bond car.
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
you
I
could
saw
spend-
Pear running around with that, yeah.
Yeah, or you could spend 30,000 on a really nice Subaru off-road or something like that. It's gorgeous to play. It's really fun. It's addicting.
Do you think you're going
I-
to keep going back to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this morning it was weird because it was like 3:30 in the morning last night. I was like, I gotta stop playing this shit because I need to go to bed. And then I woke up this morning before an hour before my alarms went off, and I woke up kind of like energetic, and I was like, I'm just gonna play some more Forza. So that's what I did, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I would have never thought that'd be the case.
I think it might be good next Wednesday to get you and Gary down together because we were reacting to the same thread on Games Daily the other day, and Gary's played quite a bit of it too, and he's kind of a racing game guy. So I'd really love to hear like somebody that's new to it and somebody that's played a lot of these talk back and forth about this. That'd be an interesting conversation.
I'm just so new to this world. I have nothing. I don't really know much about the Forza games at all, other than like, oh, it's a free game, let me check it out. And now it's at the point where it's like, yeah, I want to throw them $10-15 here because I'm enjoying this, and I've put in 6 hours now or whatever. So I want to like see how can I support this, because you download it for free with Games Pass. I'm sure they're still getting a nice little stipend from Microsoft or whatever, but yeah, I want to support the developer. It's a lot of fun, and it's that constant. I guess you're constantly seeking that upgrade, right? It's like that instant gratification.
Here's my final question for you in this Forza very specific part. What about it led you to play it? Was it the buzz? Was it just seeing it pop on Xbox Game Pass?
I felt the same way with Forza Horizon 3.
Games, didn't I?
Well, it's okay.
Nah, I owe Andrew a goddamn $1 now.
What?
So every time I say Xbox Games,
You said
it's Game Pass.
I did?
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
pretty
sure
sure.
you did.
Okay. All right, sorry. What about it is what made you play Forza?
I think it was I was always intrigued by Forza Horizon 3. That's the one that took place in Australia, I believe.
Sure.
And
That sounds right, yeah.
At the time it came out, and I was really into watching Top Gear. And and I just like the idea of this open world where there really are no rules. You could just sort of free drive wherever you want, and there's all these little perks all around the world, and that idea always intrigued me. But the fact that it was free definitely drove me to it, to say, I might as well give it a shot. Why not? I have nothing else to really do right now, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice use of drove me to it.
Huh?
Nice use of drove me to it.
Yeah, that was pretty
nice.
good.
Something steered you in that direction.
Totally didn't mean to. Yeah. Totally
So
didn't
now
mean to.
here's my question for you guys as a panel. And Andy, I want your opinion too, of course, but you've been talking a lot, so shut up.
Sure, yeah.
Is this the power of Xbox Game Pass? Is this the whole entire reason Xbox is doing this? To put games out there that Andy or a gamer whoever might not normally give a shit about. He was intrigued about Forza Horizon 3, never touched it, right? Never wanted to plunk down the $60 for it.
It's part of it. It's not all of it. That's the beginning. That's the hook. It's also there to highlight games that maybe never got the attention they deserved, so that sequels can have build up, so that DLC can be sold against those games, so that they can keep multiplayer communities. That's a huge deal. Something, whether it be Horizon, or if you look at something like a shooter maybe that didn't get the attention it deserved first time around. If you lose that server population, you lose the game.
It's over, right? Yeah.
So why not keep making revenue? How do you do that? Throw it on Games Pass. It's free. More people are populating the servers. I think that's a huge part of it. I think it's a gateway drug towards some sort of eventual, what I've heard Gary called the other day, Netflix, when he was talking about the NES on
what we want from
Steam
Nintendo Online, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
And that I think that this could very well be them investigating another kind of blue ocean revenue model, someplace that they're not making money yet that they could be. But the gateway drug is ultimately keep multiplayer servers populated on good games that didn't get the attention they deserved the first time around.
Steve?
How do you really follow that? But I agree 100% with Jared. It's a way to get more eyes on Xbox One first-party titles. I mean, it's pretty clear that the Xbox One is in a distant third place right now. There isn't a lot of buzz around it. Key games like Scalebound, Crackdown 3 are kind of missing. Well, either canceled completely or missing in action, getting delayed. Giving people the opportunity to highlight some of those games for $10 a month is actually a pretty killer deal. And I think it is a way to... I think the appeal of it, from what I've heard from friends that are PlayStation-centric, is that, yeah, they'd be willing to throw down $10 a month. You know, that might drive them to go buy an Xbox One just because they know they wouldn't have to buy games for it. You know, for them, $10 a month is way more appealing than dropping $60 to see if Sea of Thieves is any good.
Right.
You know, and I have a few friends who have gone and done exactly that. They've plunked down the $200 plus 10 or $300 plus 10, depending on, which model you're going for, and only played games that were available on Game Pass. And so far that's working out for those folks that I know that have done that. I have Game Pass. I never use it. I was telling someone earlier today that I think my relationship with my Xbox is that I turn it on once every 6 months, and I think to myself, why don't I do this more often? And then I repeat the cycle.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love my Xbox. I just never use it, and I pay for Game Pass the entire time I don't
I mean,
use
that's what Xbox wants, right? In a lot of ways, of just like give me the $10 and forget about it. It's what Netflix wants out of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I have Game Pass. It was provided by Microsoft. And in the same way, I find it so fascinating that I've had the Forza codes forever. And Gary Whitta was the only one who really expressed interest in it, right? And I think it's so interesting that for Andy, somebody who has access to that, and you might not even know that they were chilling or whatever, but that you can reach out and I can get you pretty much anything you want. But it was the nudge of just being like at home one night and be on a whim. All right, that's out, and I have that ability to get it, and I was interested in the last one. I'm going, and now you're doing the thing that I always talk about with my games, right? Where sure I get the game for free, but if I really love it and I'm enjoying it, here's the season pass. I'll pay you for the season pass as a way to give back to you and encourage you to keep doing stuff, even if I don't get to that content.
In a way, it's an extension of that Fortnite mentality where why are so many people playing? One of the reasons, frankly, is it's free. It works everywhere. In our minds, we can reach a place, I think you raised a great point there, free-esque. We think of it as free. We barely think about the fact that we're paying for Netflix anymore.
The amount of times
one of those things.
Here's your free PlayStation Plus games of the month. Well, I'm like, no, I pay for PlayStation Plus. Like, I understand that I'm getting whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think that kind of slips through. And we increasingly, many of us, I think about some of these things almost like a utility. How would I live without it? And that's ridiculous, but that's how they get you.
Yeah, that is how they get you. Andy, they got you.
I'm going to drift away now.
Oh, you're going to... Andy, can I ask for one favor?
Take a break.
Can you make a pit stop and make me another iced coffee at the 7-Eleven? What? Yeah.
Oh.
Can you like put ice from the door of the fridge and then just put a coffee
sure.
to this?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Thank you, buddy. But you didn't react to my pit stop thing because it's like you're driving away.
Well, you said 7-Eleven, so I was like, I didn't.
It
was a dad joke that stopped halfway through.
All right, we're gonna just keep going.
Andy,
I'll be back, guys.
may I rudely also request an iced coffee?
Sure.
Thank you,
Steve, would you
Steve's fine.
like a water, a refill on the water?
Sure.
Thank you.
Andy,
Eli.
you're
what
getting
did-
people iced coffees.
I don't have a car pun though, but
What? It's fine. They're all dead now. They rolled over.
I've emptied both these LaCroix. I need some caffeine.
Sure, okay. Well, is there caffeine in LaCroix? Oh, no, that's what you're saying. You're giving me iced coffee. I apologize.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a video viewer, by the way, we're going to be unboxing this C64 Mini and this Centipede machine later in the show. That's why they're out here.
which I'm very excited about. I actually didn't realize that the C64 Mini came out.
Yeah.
And I had every intention of pre-ordering one, and then some of my friends just kind of were like, hey, look, I've got one.
Yeah, the C64 Mini actually
Shit.
doesn't officially wide release here in the States, I think, until the 9th, I believe. I think
Well,
that's the
then,
day.
luckily, I tucked the fact sheet into the box.
Ooh.
Even though we're not unboxing it now.
Whoa!
Steve, you get ready.
believe it.
November, or October 9th. October 9th. Now available for
I got
pre-orders.
time.
You
I got
Got
time.
time. Got time
All
to get ahead
right.
of it.
Steve, with all this time you've had on your hands, Greg Way, what have you been playing?
So I have been playing a few games. I've been playing, and mostly indies, which is kind of interesting.
This is all on Switch, I assume, right?
Yeah. I literally don't play anything else. I'm kidding. but-
You joked about only turning on your Xbox every 6 months.
Yeah,
But
my-
is it pretty much legitimately for the job and what you're doing, you're just playing Switch?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I did take a long break to play Spider-Man because I was
Hell yeah.
there was no fucking way I
You're a
wasn't
human
playing
being.
Spider-Man.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
You're-
I have needs: food, water, shelter,
You had to see
and
that
Spider-Man.
shirtless Spider-Man cameo. You had to
I
see
did.
it.
I
Had to reach
actually
it.
went hunting for that once I found out it was there.
I'm very proud of him. He's done a lot of great work.
Yeah, he's a real hero. But I've been spending a lot of time with The Messenger.
Jared was just
Yeah.
talking about that before. Where are you right now? And no spoilers, but into the Messenger, how far are you?
So
Ballpark.
I think I'm close to the end.
Okay. Have you beaten it yet, Jared? I know you.
No, I haven't
okay,
beaten
okay.
it yet. That game needs a Surgeon General's warning for how awesome it is, though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
It is so fantastic. I keep coming back to it. It's like I'll pick it up, I'll play it, I'll complete 1 or 2 objectives, then I'll leave it for days at a time.
Yeah.
But I always want to come back to it. Whenever I have idle time, I'm like, oh, I should play The Messenger. And it's easily my favorite indie game this year.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I always want to do this. Ethics, of course. My wife Jen does brand management for the Messenger, so I just like to put that out there.
Didn't even know.
No, the $20.
I've never met her.
The $20 is in the mail. No, my question for you. Okay, so that's interesting you say that because last time I think was it a Games Daily or a Gamescast? You and I were talking.
It
about
was Games
this.
Daily we were talking about this, I believe. I don't think we've talked about this. in
How do
Gamescast.
you think it matches up against Celeste? Because that seems to be the one where people are like, it's a great game. It's game of the year. It's one of the game of the years. I would probably go Celeste over that, but blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, Celeste doesn't grab me the same way. It is a competent and extremely fun platformer.
Yeah.
But I don't want to play it nearly as much as I want to play The Messenger.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
The Messenger hits that nostalgia sweet spot for me, though. I'm instantly reminded of Ninja Gaiden on my NES when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, sitting on the floor of my parents' fucking living room playing on a ridiculously tiny CRT. Whereas Celeste feels more like something that was made this year.
Sure.
And so it doesn't have that same nostalgia factor for me. And while it's a fun game, I'm not drawn into it the same way.
Do you feel the Messenger not overcomes it, because that's a great thing, but does it do more than just nostalgia?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, mechanically, the Messenger feels like something completely new. I mean, but it feels like something that legitimately could have been done back then.
Okay.
Like, you know, the whole jumping mechanic and hitting enemies and being able to flip off them, and just the way it ramps up its challenge so steadily as you go through the game. Like, I was playing on the flight here, I was playing the Messenger, and I was trying to get through this one room where there are no platforms and nothing to grapple onto, just enemies floating around that are moving, and you have to basically jump and cut your way through to the other side of this chasm with a massive dip in between. So you have to let yourself fall, then continue to springboard off of enemies to the other side. And it was incredibly frustrating, but once I got through it, I just felt so good about myself. For that one moment, everything in my life was right.
Yeah, that's I think that's around the moment where I realized that this was the sequel to Klonoa I never got and always wanted.
Oh, I know, right? I never even thought about that.
It's the bonus stage in Klonoa. It's just like, oh look, use enemies to move through the air. The whole game's built around that, and it's just so beautifully, brilliantly put together. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. For me, it's definitely in the Game of the Year discussion, but I tend to think of it as almost a deconstruction of the way that platformers are put together. As sort of like you go look back at a movie like the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and it's John Ford like taking his whole career of tropes and what makes things work apart in another movie by him, and taking everything and then making something beautiful anyway out of all of that. I think the Messenger kind of does that for platformers and its design, and I love it for that.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game. I can't say enough good things about it.
And that's why I want to give you the floor and keep asking you questions. It's something I similarly asked Jared, I think. Do you think it waited too long for its like hook or like the bit? Because I don't even know what it is. You know what I mean? Because I do intend to play through more or do more, you know what I mean? Because I touched it and whatever. I'm like, I get it. I want to play Valkyria Chronicles 4 right now.
Yeah.
But I know that, I mean, I know there's the 8-bit to 16-bit, but I know that there's like a story moment where the game suddenly becomes something different.
Right. There's another hook. And I think it gets dangerously close to that, but doesn't get to that point. I think by the time you reach that kind of moment where the game tonally shifts in a way, you're almost getting to that point where you're tired of what you've been doing.
Okay.
And I think that's really critical to what makes it such a good game, is because it pushes you right to that edge of, okay, I've done this enough, and then it says, hey, we're a whole new game now. So you get to do a whole different set of mechanics and a whole different, you play the game in a completely different way. And the thing that I love most about it is that while it changes, you're finding new things out about familiar locations that you've already visited. And whenever a game does that, I'm in love with it. It makes me think of Skyward Sword, when you had the time stones and you would have these little pockets of the future or the past.
Sure.
And you're traveling through a landscape. It's just whenever games can repurpose their existing locations and make something completely new and exciting out of it, I just fall in love with that.
Oh, sure, totally. For me, it's always Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
right.
God.
Like when you come out of Temple of Time as an adult Link or whatever, older Link, right, and it's just destroyed. Like,
yeah.
My story, and I know it's trite for old listeners, but like I don't think I've told it in a long time now. Like I remember being in honors English class, junior year of high school, and it was. They wanted us to write sample college essays, like, to get in the thing for this, for a graded assignment, but, all this stuff. And so it was a compare and contrast 2 different time periods from any one of these books. Oh. And they listed like 25 books, and I had read none of them. And I was like, all right. And I just fucking put it all online and did Ocarina of Time.
No kidding. How was your grade?
B+.
Freaking A.
And it was read more books, idiot. But that was written there by Mr. Kaloje. But
I've never heard that story. I've never
oh, really?
That.
Yeah. Because it was just like, for me, maybe it was senior year, but I mean, playing through, because I played through Ocarina of Time. I started it the night before my ACT test and played it way too late that night. You know what I mean?
That was a poor choice.
No, I still define the ACTs. Ocarina it was one of those games that I had a friend who was like, you need to play this, you need to play this, you need to play this. And it became that thing of me being like, well, no, now it's just going to be like, I'll never play it. And like a Blockbuster was closing and then just doing a game sale. Yeah. And I remember going there and seeing the gold NES or N64 cartridge for it.
Oh, wow.
For like $10 or whatever there. And I was like, I didn't even buy it. And I told them about it later, and like they're like, "You're a fucking idiot." You know what I mean? And so sure enough, one day I broke down during a spring break, and he gave me the guide, and he gave me the cartridge, and I put that cartridge in, and I was like, "What the fuck is this game? Like, holy shit!" And when it did that first twist of coming out after like and I keep in mind like I'm a Sega kid. This is my first Zelda. So any of the tropes, any of the stuff, like I don't know them or expect them or any of the twists I'm gonna get into. So to play that and be like, oh man, like Hyrule is so alive and so awesome. I mean, it still was. Remember when we all run into the field for the first time, and like now you look at it, it's just like totally flat, and there's like 2 bushes and an enemy. But it was like, what the fuck? Oh my god, games! But to get in there, and it was just such a living, breathing place, and all these characters I cared about and side stories I cared about, and then to go into temple and come out and everyone's a zombie, you're like, what the fuck?
And that's it. You got like that repurposed world. And repurposing usually feels like something in a game that feels lazy, something that was done because, oh man, we got to use these assets again. And yet
it can be. I wouldn't say usually. I think it can be.
Often is.
Okay.
I would say when I encounter repurposing in games, more often than not, I'm bummed.
Are you thinking back to NES and SNES days? Or are you
There's
talking
a
about
lot
now
of stuff. Modern and all. I think you see it more now than you did then.
Wow, okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
But there are exceptions, like Ocarina, like for me, it'd be the inverted castle in Symphony of the Night,
course.
or like think about all the reuse of assets that went into Undead Nightmare, and that created an amazing situation.
Exactly, and that was
good,
and that was the same thing. Hey, this fucking world that you've been in for hours is now this brand new thing. You're like,
and that's
my
great.
god,
I love when that gets pulled off right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was an abrupt stop. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, we just kinda-
boom. I'm done.
Nope. Done
Jared
with
Petty's
that.
made his point. All right. Cool.
I made the point.
So you think Messenger best indie you've played this year?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
By a mile.
Would you say this is sticking with me? A loaded question. You've played a lot of indies this year because the Switch, obviously.
Oh yeah.
There's like 15 every Thursday now for you to get into.
Oh yeah. I've played a lot of indies. I have a 512 gig card in my Switch that is full.
Yeah.
That's
Don't-
a slow clap.
Don't applaud me. It
I'm the
hurts.
same way. I forget which. I have one of the bigger cards. Kevin, do you remember what card? 128. Well, now Kevin's confused, but I have a bigger card in there, and it's that weird thing of now hitting that ceiling,
just like,
where I
holy
am like,
crap.
fuck, and I'll have to go delete stuff. I'm like, there's so many games on here I haven't even opened yet. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Flipping Death. Fuck, I really want to play that. Shit. All right, delete something else. Come back. Remember it's there.
By the way,
yeah.
is this yours or mine?
Which one?
The ice.
Oh, the ice is for everybody. Andy's never made an iced coffee apparently, so he put 2 cubes in every cup and then was like, "Oh, this isn't enough." Like, cup your hand over. Cup your hand over it. It's gonna splash back.
Wondering why my iced coffee was so warm.
By the way, can we appreciate a moment? Jared's fabulous Nintendo Switch cup.
Oh, what's that? Yeah.
That is a wonderful piece of branded
Do you
merchandise.
That
want
is-
one? We
that's
have like
marvelous.
5.
Yeah, I want one.
Maybe even more than that.
Well, it was when Damon Baker came by, right? He came
Yeah.
by with a million cups. It was at the
What
end.
the hell? He gave me a business card and a pat on the shoulder.
Well, this was the,
Literally
it was
gave
the
us
Thanks,
pre-
Damon.
San Francisco press tour,
Oh,
and we were the
I
last
see.
stop. So he's like, "Hey,
Oh.
here are all these Nintendo Switch pens and cups I don't want to bring back." And we're like, "All right, cool, thanks."
Also, when Damon Baker gives you a pat on the shoulder, you need to understand it's kind of like when Jesus touched you,
Whoa.
and actually you were blessed.
I actually figured I might make a successful indie game now. Like
Yeah.
if I use this shoulder.
Because
he
you
like
touched
blew
you.
the indie
Yeah.
dust on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I have
It's
such
like-
great ideas of platforming.
Yeah.
Tell me about Grip, Steve.
I can't say a whole lot about Grip
Okay.
because it's super early.
Here's what I'll tell you honestly. I don't know what Grip is. I don't have when you say you're playing that, I don't have a visual of what that game is.
Right, so it's a combat racing game. Think like Twisted Metal or something like that.
Oh,
Okay.
Um,
Vigilante
is this-
8, something like
yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah.
This has been a series? Yes.
Yes.
There's been Grips before. Okay. Now I'm starting to get there.
Yeah, it's like one of those, developer comes back, makes a spiritual successor kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I don't have a release date for it yet, but they sent me a code and they didn't send me an embargo.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, hey,
I'm sure
cool,
they're
I can
happy
talk
for you to
about
talk
this.
about it. That's usually the sign of please say something about it.
So where does it
Yeah.
fall on the Carmageddon to Twisted Metal to Vigilante 8 to Interstate 76 scale?
Oh, that's hard. Like I said, it's still a really early game, so I'm not sure where it's going to land, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's like, assets aren't completely done. I mean, like the earliest game I've ever played on a retail console ever.
Wow,
So I'm
okay.
a little surprised that they sent it to me, but
Are you seeing glimmers of this could be good? This could be
yeah,
something to really
it
play?
definitely could be good. Like so the idea of the game is that you can race around the tracks, like, and they're all kind of tubular tracks. So you can race on the ceiling or on the floor, on the
Okay.
sides, and you can pick up weapons and
Is
destroy
it giving
other
like a wipeout
racers.
vibe?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you racing or are you fighting?
Both.
Okay.
You are racing, but you are heavily encouraged to kill people on the way through.
So there is a goal line.
Yes,
but
there
killing
is a
people
goal line
helps
and
you
there
get
are laps. And yeah, it's like Mario Kart, but people die.
Okay. All right. There we go. So it's not. So it's not like the Vigilante 8. We're just going to wait till one.
Right. It's not arena
Okay.
combat like
All right.
like Twisted Metal or Vigilante. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a fun little game, but I definitely need to spend more than 48 minutes with it.
Something to keep on your radar.
Yeah, it's something I'm still actively playing, but to be honest, it's taking a backseat to other stuff just because I'm waiting for more updates to come out for it.
Sure.
Rad.
And then what about Crossing Souls?
Crossing Souls is another indie, of course, and it's published by Devolver.
So it's weird as fuck.
It is
Here we
fucking
go.
weird,
What is
right?
this one, dude? Whose
So-
head's exploding or fucking Cthulhu's having sex while running a mini mart?
It's like a Saturday morning 80s like cartoon.
Okay.
So and the cutscenes are exactly like that. They're animated in that really cheesy kind of weird way that 80s cartoons were.
Oh, rad.
And you play as a group of kids in a sleepy town that discover this stone that lets them see ghosts. And it ends up you have to work together with ghosts to solve issues in your town that usually involves like beating the shit out of things with a baseball bat.
Ah.
So
Kevin, can I please see a trailer for Crossing Souls?
Yeah, I'll
Because
check
this
it out.
game sounds like 120% Greg Miller kind of
Yeah,
shit.
it does. It sounds good.
yeah,
Bring this
it is
sucker
a
up.
really fun game. I mean, I've been enjoying it. It's
How far into this are you?
I would
Ballpark.
say I'm about 60-70% through.
Oh, shit, okay.
So I've uncovered most of the main story beats now. I've seen a bunch of the really cool little animated cutscenes, and I keep coming back to it. It's just really fun. It plays almost like an old school Zelda.
What
So
turned you onto it?
Well, the fact that they sent me a code for it. But
There you go. All right.
no, I actually really liked the trailer for it. So this is what turned me on to it.
go.
Let's take a look.
Are we watching?
Yeah,
this?
show it up for the kids too. And I'll describe for everybody else. For Radic, Devolver Digital. We got the tape. Oh, yeah, thing.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Yes.
Dude, this looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's badass.
How did I not? How did I?
God damn it, Greg, you're slipping,
I was asleep at the wheel, guys. I'm sorry.
These
Devolver,
guys look
I'm
like
sorry.
they ought to be like representing Burger King in a brand.
I know.
So is the story good? Are the characters cool?
Yeah, the story's good. The characters are really, really cool. You can switch between one of, I want to say, 4 living kids. Like, you can see them all in the trailer here. And they each have unique abilities. Like, the blue-haired kid uses a bat. The orange-haired girl
And the
uses
DeLorean.
a whip.
Oh,
yeah.
This looks fun. There's a dragon. It's Vigo.
Yeah.
You were supposed to go
It
flies to him.
I like the kid looks so much like Egon.
Yeah, and of course, in true 80s fashion, the kid's like a super genius that can make anything.
This kid from Explorers.
Wow.
But yeah,
Looks fun.
it is an awesome game.
That looks dope.
That-
I
yeah.
need to be playing this.
Yeah.
This.
I'm. Yes.
Yes.
1000% in. No, I can't believe that slipped by us. Is it out already or is it?
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
be?
it's out now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Gotta
There's
get
too
that-
many games, guys.
Well, yeah, that's
is,
the thing.
Is this the problem with our lives? I saw an article on somewhere, Polygon or Kotaku this week. Too many games.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we weren't writing about games all the time, maybe if we're just playing them all the time.
Can we work on that? Becoming independently wealthy and just play games all the
I
time?
think it's a
Yeah,
good plan.
let's do it.
I mean, you're kind of on your way there, right?
If we could just stop talking about, if we could just have a Twitch stream every day, just play that, you know what I mean? But make the same
Yeah.
amount of money. There you
Yeah,
go.
that
There you
sounds
go.
good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Fuck, that can, you just,
Yeah.
I'm excited to stop this show now and
I
go
don't-
get Crossing
go
Souls.
play-
I've got it in on my Switch in my bag over here, so we can definitely throw it up
All
somewhere.
right, all right. Things I've been playing.
Yeah.
I want your opinion on this one, Steve, because I know you've been there with me, right? Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've talked a lot about it.
All right.
But I know Big Kev Dog's been playing a ton of it. I know Steve's been playing a ton of it.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
know Jared hates it. He's running away.
No, that's not true at all.
I can hear him over there.
Please.
What's that?
Oh, Jared!
No, I just got
You won't play it because it has a female protagonist.
Oh
I'll
my
tell you what,
God.
Jared. That's a
Whoa.
bold statement to
Whoa.
make off
I'm
Mike.
cutting his mic. I'm
Cut
cutting
his mic. The San Francisco screw
that.
job.
That is untrue.
Go
I got up because I had to pee. No, I can't wait to play this
I
game.
feel like you need to cap that off with a wink.
I
need to pee.
cannot, as I've said before, get over how much I love this game and how much it's dominated. Like, I'm at home and it used to be I'm at home and I only have 15 minutes to do something. I'll do a Luminous run. I'll fuck around here. I'll just put on Netflix. And now it's like, well, I can do a side quest. Oh, I can sync a.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odyssey is fucking with my sleep schedule right now. My girlfriend gets up to work out at 4 a.m. because she's a lunatic.
Oh, that's crazy.
Love you. And
What time does she go to bed?
She goes to bed at like 8:30.
Yeah, no, that's that farmer life. I'm not about that.
Yeah, no, but she gets up and I'm usually like, okay, I'll wake up in 6 hours. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
And when she gets up and I'm like, oh crap, I could just turn on the TV and play some Assassin's Creed. And before I know it, she's coming back from the gym and she's like, oh, you didn't go back to bed? I was like, there are people to kill.
Yeah, right. I got all these mercenaries.
I found
to
a
hunt.
spear.
Yeah, I got these mercenaries. Just.
Yeah, it is just such an enthralling game. And it's funny because it builds so much off the back of Origins, and I didn't like Origins.
How much Origins did you play?
Oh, I played through the whole thing.
Okay, good. This has been not. You played.
I liked Origins, and I played through a good chunk of it.
And you're in love with Odyssey now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Then I'm going to bring in a reader question, all right?
Do it, dude.
Awesome Nick 94 responded to my tweet, twitter.com/GameOverGreggy, and said, which is better, Origins or Odyssey? And why should I bother playing Odyssey when I have so much of Origins left to play? What do you want to see improved for the next Assassin's Creed now that it's taking another year-long break? Let's start at the top, though. Steve, Origins or Odyssey?
Oh, Odyssey, 100%.
Why? Because I haven't had a leg to stand on the argument because my whole thing was with Odyssey, I played an hour, 2 hours in the beginning, and I was just like, I don't like Bayek, I don't like Egypt. I understand why the combat's cool, I understand why people are connecting with this, not for me. So for me to fall in love with Odyssey now, it's been hard for when people are like, oh, but why? I'm like, well, it's brighter, I like the characters, I don't know.
Right, so for me, Origins, I mean, I didn't like Bayek or Egypt.
Yeah.
I thought it was a boring setting and a boring protagonist.
Damn.
And
In your face, Kevin!
And
Did you like Bayek in the setting in
Yeah.
Origins?
I didn't like Bayek so much. I did like the setting. I thought that the biggest issue is everything was really, really spread apart.
Yeah.
Right. Egypt was really sparse. There wasn't stuff to like climb and skulk about and kill people from the shadows, which
Sure.
is what I feel makes an Assassin's Creed game. And I feel like Odyssey addresses that. Ancient Greece feels like so much better of a setting. And while I haven't played enough, unfortunately, to really get a feel for Alexios or Cassandra as characters, I've played enough to know that mechanically it's just leagues better. I mean, the environments and the way missions are constructed is just on a whole other level.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
I'm 20 some hours in now, and so like I am in love with Cassandra. Like, and I'm sure if it was Lexia, it would be the same thing. Just the fact that they are cool characters, and the little, and it's not an RPG, but well, you know how it is.
Yeah.
The twinges of choice of am I going to kill this guy? Am I going to tell him I killed him? Am I gonna, you know what I mean? That
Yep,
stuff. Like
yep.
it really does let me personalize her to a character. Like I really like you, and her story is amazing. The story beats they've given me. It is the first Assassin's Creed I think ever where I'm literally like, man, fuck the side shit. Let's get to I gotta see where this is going. Where is this person?
I'm the opposite. I'm like, give me every side
But
mission.
do you like the story from what you've seen?
I do like it, just to be clear, but it's just so, like, they've constructed those side missions in such a way that, like, when I open up a new area, I'm excited to go to the little, like, things and be like, all right, I'm going to take all the missions and then to see the little pops in the map.
Yeah.
And when I'm running to do one mission, I see another one as I'm walking by. I'm like, well, I'm going to stop, talk to this person.
Yeah.
And have that in, like, my...
Don't get me wrong, I love the side missions too. I think they're exceptionally well crafted. They have really interesting stories and characters. But I'm so, like, her thing of just, like, her motivations, why I'm off on this quest and like what I'm doing. Like, I'm fucking all in.
Oh, yeah. It's such a fantastically put together story from the small amount that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
And I just like the dialogue between the characters, the relationships that they have with each other. It's way better than Origins. I just think Origins can't hold a candle to Odyssey at all.
Yeah.
So this was coming out right around the time I had it off for vacation.
Yeah.
This game is made for me. I read ancient Greek.
Yeah.
Like this is what I did in college. It's what I care about.
Wait, like the language?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the the fact that that Red Dead is on the way,
yeah.
plus the fact that we just learned that there's something to all this Google stuff for sure, and that they're going to be streaming this.
Yeah.
I signed up the day of the release that was going to be streamable. That Odyssey was
what do they
their
call it?
game.
Project Stream. Stream.
So my hope is that when Project Stream opens up, I'll make it in, and that's when I'm going to play this. I've decided to wait and see until Project Stream opens
As a
up.
quick
And if I
footnote,
made it
so what
in-
it is that, Google announced Project Stream, that basically they're going to put out this, they're doing a beta where people are going to be able to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey through their browser, just Google Chrome.
Yeah, just play in Chrome.
Plug a controller in
That's
and play
wild.
there.
Yeah,
and
and
stream it
that's
that
I
way.
want to.
Yeah.
So I've decided to wait to experience the game.
Yeah.
that
That's
way,
really smart.
and that way I'll be able to be like, I can come in here honestly and tell you whether or not I think that that's an awesome tech, whether or not the game was fun, without having it kind of corrupted by having had previous exposure.
Kevin.
Yo,
Awesome Nick's second part there, right? Was it, why should I bother playing Odyssey when I have so much Origins left to play?
so I put, I think like 60 hours into Origin, and same thing where I've been doing a lot of the side, maybe a little bit less, maybe 40, doing a lot of the side missions, moving the story along, but like there's just something about Odyssey. It's tighter everywhere, and it's just, I'm sure the Origin story is cool. I didn't really care about it to begin with. Like, it was too cut up. Like, the fact that it starts and then it jumps forward.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, you missed this segment. It just, I wasn't into it. And Odyssey is the whole time. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. This is a cool story. Immediately, like, you find out who the big, like, boss is going to be. And then you keep going. And it's like, oh, it keeps driving you.
Kevin, is it
Agreed.
analogous to the jump that happened between Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2? I mean, way
Yes.
back in the day?
I mean, I'd say so. We were talking. I was talking. No,
I think that's a bridge too far, personally.
really.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect analogy, to
Really?
be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just mentioning that in between shows earlier, that it definitely feels like if Origins was a reboot for the series, then
Yeah.
this is the new Assassin's Creed 2. I
I'll
think it
agree with that.
improves so much upon
But
Origins.
I think Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2 was so dramatically like, oh, this sucked and that sucked and this took too long and they did all these things. Whereas I think the fact that so many people are looking at Odyssey and being like, it just looks like Origin. Why is everybody freaking out, right? There's more under the hood, smaller things. But maybe, I mean, I'm talking about like stories. We're talking about what we love, right? Storyline, side quests and stuff. That doesn't show in the same way gameplay changes from 1 to 2 maybe did.
That-
feel
that's
like
true.
I feel like there's been a fair amount of gameplay changes where
Yeah.
this seems like a vastly improved version that like I enjoyed Origin, but I could put it down. This,
yeah.
This I woke up to this morning, had to move my cars around because I have too many cars, and
First world problems.
yeah, and
Poor Kevin and his
I was
fucking
like,
15 cars, his Aston
There's
Martins.
3 of them. None of them are nice. But I was like, oh, I have like 20 minutes to kill. Let me just open up a new part of the map I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And then I got hooked doing like infiltrating this like lava base with people that were like ranking like 3 higher than me.
Sure.
And it was like, fuck, I have to do this perfectly, and I couldn't put it down, and then I ended up coming here at like 10:30 because of it.
Sure.
Is that why the internet's broken today, Kevin?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Did you ever check your DMs? Did Comcast get back
They
to us?
haven't responded.
Okay, cool. We'll look into it. I want to call out Steven Totillo over at Kotaku. He put up an article called What Assassin's Creed Odyssey Changes from Origins, which gives a detailed rundown, awesome, Nick, on all the things we're talking about, but like very specifically how they improved stealth and what they did here and why this is like, why it's getting the acclaim it is. And so many people are like, it looks like Origins.
Yeah,
they're wrong.
and it does on the surface, like,
Yeah.
but it's all the simple things, like the UI things that
It's
really
all quality
look
of
like
life
Origins,
stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but it's so much better of a game, and definitely read Steven's article. It is a really great read, and he's a huge fan of the series. He picks every single one apart in crazy detail not every year anymore, but
Yeah.
whenever they release.
Next up on my list of things I played is the thing I've actually played the most because, like I was talking about in the pre-show, I had a friend in town, Poe, of course, catch him on the Game Over Greggy show. And what we did is went back to our roots from a few years ago, and because like our friendship is founded on video games. Like when we became best friends in junior high, it was that he liked playing Madden as much as I did, so he'd come over and we'd play a ton of Madden on Genesis. Years ago when I bought him his PlayStation 4 and we brought it home and we put it in, the first thing I downloaded was Overcooked. And we stayed up to like 2 in the morning playing Overcooked.
Oh, Jesus.
And so when he came out to visit, I was like, Overcooked 2 is here. You and I are, because Overcooked, of course, fucks up the Overcooked 2 fucks up the platinums. You and I, Poe, are going to platinum it. Meaning he'll get me the platinum. He doesn't care about trophies. Fuck him. And so that's what we played, like all, you know what I mean? Like we 3-starred all the levels. We did all the Kevin levels. 3-starred all of those. My trophy list is down to throw away 500 items or whatever it is, or wash this many plates. All the stupid, like, just, nitty gritty stuff. But man, what a fucking game.
So you didn't actually make the platinum?
No, but we did all the stuff I really need a second player for. And of course, then, just to fuck with me, I think, Team 17 put out DLC this week.
Yep.
So now there's new trophies to get. And I mean, they don't apply to my platinum, but they're right there.
You got to bring Poe back. You got to bring him back.
I'm thinking about maybe bringing in the one and only Joey Noel. Because a long time ago, Joey, a big Overcooked fan. When the Overcooked 2 got announced, we're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, yeah. And then it came, and then Joey started playing it on Switch, and then I never invited her over, and then Poe came and did it. You know what I mean? But now that maybe this is the perfect opportunity.
Play more Firewall.
No, there's too many games.
Play more Firewall.
There's too many games. Here's the problem I have is that we have this weekend now. It is a wifeless weekend. Jen's still in Montreal working really hard.
Uh-oh.
So I'm thinking Saturday, pajamas and pizza, and I just play Odyssey. Just give myself up to Odyssey.
Hard stop.
Sure.
You're going to eat more pizza?
Oh, yeah.
You spent several days doing nothing but tweet about pizza.
Yeah. Well, it was just one day, but it was a really long day in New York. But yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's not, you can't stop me.
Okay.
I'm like a Ninja Turtle. Come on.
Yeah, that's not even a
there we
question.
go.
Exactly. One day, all Odyssey. Then the next day, sort my life out, get groceries, you know what I mean? Do this, but then maybe invite Joey over because it's 3 new levels or 3 new worlds, I should say, for Overcooked. New mechanics, stuff like that. Maybe knock out those trophies.
You going to share your pizza with Joey?
Well, this will be the next day. This will be trying to fix my life.
Well,
This
yeah,
will be my
leftover
life.
pizza.
Yeah. Kevin, I don't know what you want me to do. You know what I mean?
I have Fortnite now.
We all have Fortnite too. There's Fortnite. There's Fireteam. Or Firewall. There's fucking Astrobot on VR. I gotta play.
Got that Astrobot
There's too many
going on?
things to play. Cool, Greg. Don't come in here and try to fight me, Cool, Greg. He came in with those eyes. Overcooked 2 though. We already knew it was great mechanically, but to play through the entire thing, like, awesome. My critique is so what it is like you play the story levels, right? Certain ones of them are, if you do a certain thing, they're hidden objectives. They'll unlock the hidden Kevin levels for the dog, and they're all those levels are steaming stuff, like making like dumplings and stuff, which I know doesn't sound any different than the rest of Overcooked. But when you just save those for last, it's like, man, I wish I was making anything else. This is, you know what I mean? And also not nearly as hard as Overcooked 1 was, especially the final boss. Because the final boss of Overcooked 1 was me and Poe screaming at each other and like, fuck it, it's 3 a.m, like yelling into pillows because we don't wake a son or whatever. We're playing this damn thing.
Now, we've already seen Steve's masterful Overcooked 2 skills displayed on stage.
Of course.
At the Kind of Funny Intersite
One day on
Championship.
youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
Yeah. But
Maybe.
where how good are you now,
I'm
Greg?
excellent at Overcooked 2.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Overcooked 2. All Overcooked 2 is making a plan and executing it. And that's why I love it. Because when Poe and I play, we play it the right way of, we look, you get that real, it pops up with the information above the screen, so you're looking real quick, and then you look at it, you pause, all right, I think how it's going to work is I'll stand over here and make this, you do it, you start doing it, and then every level we fuck around for a while, and then it's like, all right, restart it. We got it. I'm sitting over here, you sit over there, you do this, you do that, you run around with the fire extinguisher. Like, Poe isn't a gamer, right? He likes playing games, but he's not like us who, live and die by this stuff. And we were playing one level, and we were basically, the fire keeps spitting out, and you got to keep running over with the fire extinguishers and putting it out. And he shocked me because I'm so caught up in the moment to moment of, all right, we're close to maximizing the score. Let's just do this done. And finally, he's like, the fire's alternating sides. Every time, I put it out up top, the next one's definitely coming down low.
Yeah.
And if I put it out down low, it's going up top. So he finally figured it out. He's like, I got this. And he was just running around the fire extinguisher, put it out, and then run it down and drop it low, and then get whatever he needed to do, and then and it was like, damn, Poe. That's some high quality stuff right there.
Poe's on top of it.
Yeah. Overcooked 2, fantastic. I'm going to play the DLC eventually. Maybe with Joey. I was hoping yelling about it would call her in, but it didn't. Poe played Creed Rise to Glory in front of me on PlayStation VR. A game I had seen at Judges Week and been like, I don't know about this thing, right? He'd never played PlayStation VR or VR of anything before, so he wanted to try something. Put that on him. Definitely wore him out. Then I'm like, you gotta see Super Hot. He's like, you play and show me. I'm like, all right. Creed looked like fun though. Like it's a boxing game and it's got this whole weird Creed influence of the movie, but it didn't look. I thought it looked hokey at Judges Week. Seeing him playing it, he was having fun with it and stuff. So something to keep on your radar for PlayStation VR.
Cool.
And then I gave in as you'd expect me to. Poe's in town. He goes to bed early because the first night because he flew in from Chicago, the time difference, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not tired yet. I'm going to play some Assassin's Creed. Started playing Assassin's Creed. And I was like, all right, I'm too tired to fully enjoy this right now. I need something less intense. What do I want to do? I know what I want to do. Go to the PlayStation Store and I buy Jack and Jill DX.
Oh.
You remember this one?
No.
This is the 10-minute platinum I was telling you about all last
that
week.
thing.
Yes, exactly. So it's an endless runner where you run and you bounce off the wall and you switch directions and you pick up coins, and the platinum is incredibly easy, and it took 10 minutes. And then you get it on Vita 2, and hoo-wee. And if you want to talk about Greg Miller getting excited, ooh, doctor, it's the fact that, of course, Lucy James, she's here from the UK. She brought her UK PlayStation, right? She has a UK PlayStation account. I'm like, what if I pay you money, Lucy? I give you money, and then I go on to the UK store, buy the easy platinum games that double up from the UK. Then I come into my US account and start doing it. Because I've never wanted to jump through the hoops at myself. Because I have a UK Game Over Greggy account from way back in the day that I could dust off and do all this stuff, and then start buying money and then, or buy their pounds, whatever the hell it works. And then, but she's already there. It's easy now, Jared.
At this point, I'm just like, I wish that the Infinity Gauntlet had chosen me right at this moment. Just
oh yeah,
like away. Like,
but think of it
everything
this
you're
way.
saying just makes me want to
The
die.
cowards
inside.
on the North American PlayStation Store won't put out Slide. The renamed 1,000 star trophies, easy 2-second platinum. But they put out Slide on the UK store, so I get that. That's one. Then I know a lot of these games have separate PlayStation North America, PlayStation UK. I'm thinking about an Extra Life segment. How many platinums can Greg get on the UK store?
When you said Jack and Jill X, I was like, that sounds like a cool Vanillaware game or something. They're like, no, it's an endless runner where I get trophies.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad game though, for the record. Like, you know how I played that little town on the prairie, and that was garbage. Like, it isn't that.
Okay.
It's an easy platinum. They put them in there, but it's like, cool.
But you played the game for the platinum.
Oh, fuck all as soon as I got the platinum, stop, delete. Just stop and deleted it. You know what I mean? Then it got on the Vita the next day. What a life, I tell you. You know what I mean? God bless Shuhei Yoshida for trophies and this idea he came up with of putting
All by
achievements into
himself.
games. Jared, what have you been playing?
Oh, let's see. Do I remember from when I put the list? Why don't you tell me what I've been playing, Greg?
Tell me about Tanglewood.
All right, let's talk about Tanglewood. So, in this world of brand new video games that we could all be playing, exciting things like Assassin's Creed that I said I don't have time for. Red Dead's coming out. Get ready for that. Could be playing some Spider-Man, but no, I'm playing a brand new Sega Genesis game.
No.
I am playing Tanglewood, which is a 2018 Sega Genesis game on a cartridge.
Nice.
The developer sent me a press cartridge, and I've sat down. It works fine on my Retron 5. Tanglewood is beautiful, interesting, intriguing, lovingly crafted, really, really atmospheric. I am a big fan of what I've played at Tanglewood so far.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen this at all?
I haven't, no.
Have you seen it, Greg?
I don't know. I mean, I heard about the Genesis games.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the game is.
You get a new Genesis game every few years, but usually it's an RPG or something like that. This, however, is a side-scrolling platformer / puzzle game. It feels almost like if you ever played an old Commodore Amiga game, where you'd be like, it's exploring the world, interacting like another world or something like that. It's kind of got that vibe where I'm hopping from tree to tree, but I'm solving puzzles while avoiding enemies.
Okay.
I'm a cute little fox that can turn into like a flying squirrel. And it's all about like avoiding things that are way more dangerous than you and trying to think your way through these action puzzles. I'm a fan so far. I need to play more of it before I render a final judgment. But this is a game that if you've got a Retron, if you've got an old Sega Genesis laying around, and also it's being made available on other platforms. But the original, if I'd have played this back in the day, I think it'd be a classic.
Wow.
Like we'd be looking at it and go, because it's just so visually impressive.
And what was the genre again?
It's like a 2D side-scrolling action puzzler.
Okay.
Like exploratory puzzle kind of. Again, did you ever play Flashback or anything like that? It's a genre you don't see much of anymore.
Okay.
Think like a Metroidvania, but instead of fighting enemies, you're avoiding them. Maybe like Limbo, kind of.
Okay.
That kind of vibe to it. Okay. But with a little more mobility.
Okay.
And that's what you got.
Nice.
And I really.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's on Genesis cartridge, but you can also get it on Steam.
On Steam,
Okay,
yeah. I'm playing it on the original Genesis cartridge, and
that's got to be a fucking feeling,
it's
right?
I know, right?
freaking
Does it come in like
rad.
the checkered box?
Oh,
and all
I
that
got a
jazz?
press copy.
Okay,
So
okay.
all I have is literally like just with a label stuck on it.
Gotcha,
I don't know what
okay.
the final cartridge is going to
Oh,
look like.
okay.
That's always a bummer.
Yeah.
But I'm playing it right now on a Retron, and then my next step is going to be to get my CRT monitor out, get an original
wow.
Genesis out, plug it in, see what it looks like with the because you get really good at upscaling out of the Retron 5. Its emulator is very clean looking.
Yeah.
But these games always look different
Oh, yeah.
on original hardware, and I want to see what it looks like there next. This is a feat. I don't think it's just a novelty. I think somebody obviously put a lot of love into Tanglewood. And I wanted to kind of draw people's attention to it.
That sounds awesome.
Encourage
Is it
them
out?
to give
When
a
is it
look.
out?
I don't know the final date on it being out. I should have been ready to
I'll
talk
look for
about
it.
this, but I don't actually know when the cartridge version is going to be.
Give me your
finally
updated
available.
Mega Man 11 impressions then while I look for this for you.
My updated Mega Man 11 impressions are that Mega Man 11 is real good. I like it a lot. I like it more than some people in the press that I've read that have
That's
played
the one
it.
thing. I knew you were positive about it before review embargo. And
I
then saw
remain
a little
positive
bit,
about it.
Yeah, I thought I saw it a little bit.
I'm not finished with it.
Okay.
But I really enjoy it. I like the fact that it has adjustable difficulty. I like the fact that beyond blatant adjustable difficulty and being a nice gateway for people that don't want to sit and get beat up by Mega Man games all day, that additionally I can choose how much and how to use my gears system, and how that allows me to make the game easier or harder. I can just choose not to use gears and play it like a super precise, hardcore, really fast Mega Man game. I can use gears in all the clever, puzzly ways to solve things that it throws at me, or I can use it to make the game easier if I choose to play at that pace. I like how... Are you playing it at all?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think about it?
I agree with you completely. I played through the main story, and there's stuff you can do afterwards, but I won't obviously spoil that. But I love it. I mentioned to you earlier that I think it's probably my favorite mainline Mega Man game, and the gear system is a huge part of that because, like you were saying, you can either use it all the time, not at all, whatever you really fancy. And there were definitely levels where, to get the hang of them, I'd use the gear system to slow time down and get the timing on some of the platforming, and then I'd run back through without it, and I'd feel like, oh man, now I know all this, I can jump on. There's one specific level that has a lot of rotating gears that tend to fall and drop off and are turning, so that if you stay on them too long, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And I used the speed gear. Sorry,
Yep.
I was searching for the name
Which
of it.
slows time down.
Yeah, speed gear, which slows time down to get the timing on all the jumps for that. And then I inevitably died somewhere else and realized now that I know it, I can just jump through this whole thing and not use the gears at all. And I really, really love that they've curbed that difficulty in a way that doesn't ruin it for people that want that hardcore challenge.
Right, you don't have to use it, but it's not just to make the game easier gimmick. It's also really useful in certain situations just to gain a fun advantage. Like sometimes sometimes it's not about making it easier. Sometimes it's about, I'm just going to blast this thing right now. Or, I'm going to solve this puzzle. And and it's adding new mechanics to a base Mega Man game, which is usually a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, everything after the slide has been a terrible idea until this, which has been wonderful.
Yeah,
I love it. I really do. I think.
Do you think the gears were added to make Mega Man more approachable to new players, or were they added to make it more a twist for the people who've been around forever?
In my opinion, all of the above. Steve?
Yeah.
I agree as well. I think it's something that improves the accessibility of it, but also gives players that are really used to Mega Man an interesting twist on the gameplay.
That's interesting because that was always my thing with Mega Man. Jumping in and trying to understand and being a Sega kid, missing all that stuff. Coming back to them, I was always like, he's just too heavy. This feels like they need me to be too precise. It was just stuff I didn't enjoy. Like, I understand why that matters. I understand why people love it. You know what I mean? But for me personally, that's wasn't what draws me to games. So, like, this is interesting of like, all right, cool. Here are different ways to augment the gameplay so I get around the parts that annoy me a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, and I've heard comparisons to 7 based on the speed that Mega Man moves. I think I think that character size is smaller than 7, and I'm not entirely aligned with that criticism. I feel like he's way more mobile than he felt in 7.
Absolutely.
And I've really enjoyed him there. I understand where that's coming from because there are moments where the game seems to be paced more deliberately. But I never felt like it was a plod or slow either. It didn't have that grindy feel that 5 and 6 sometimes have, for example.
Right, not at all. I felt like going through the game, like I said, it took me about 4 hours to get through the main campaign, and it was a really enjoyable 4 hours. I breezed through the game, in an afternoon, and it felt like it never felt like I was having to push myself to complete it. Sure. Like I before I knew it was done, and I was like, shit, I'm ready to go again. Like I really want to keep playing. And fortunately, there's stuff to do after, but I haven't yet touched it just because I'm kind of saving it for when I'm feeling like there's a hole in my library that I need something.
Yeah, there are and this has been observed many places before, there are the great Mega Man games and there are the good Mega Man games. There's not a lot of not good Mega Man games. They're mostly superb games. But at this point, my impression is this one falls in the upper bucket.
Okay.
It's not 9 is my all-time favorite, and I don't think this one is 9. This is Now you're
This
all-time
is my
mainline
all-time favorite, yeah.
But I really do like this game that I've played so far, and I'll keep you updated
Thank
as
you.
I play through more of it.
Jared, tell me about the Sega Aces.
Oh, okay.
Sega Ages.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
Sega
starting
Ages.
to go,
You guys,
everybody.
either y'all play, you play a lot of Switch stuff. You playing this?
Oh yeah, I was a Sega kid growing up,
yeah, buddy.
just like Mr. Greg here. So yeah, Sega Ages is near and dear to my heart, and I've been playing Sonic and Lightning.
Yep, Lightning Force.
Lightning Force, right?
Yeah, so-
Lightening Force.
Lightening.
Lightning,
It's
yeah.
important. Lightening Force. It's not Lightning Force. It's Lightening
gotcha.
Force. Yeah, that quality control was not what it is now a long time ago. So let's talk about Sega Ages. Why would you want to spend $8 to buy a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Old game is
in
old.
2018. Because the new Sega Ages is produced by M2. And M2 does emulation better than just about anybody. Nobody knows how to emulate the X68000 processor, the 16-bit processor that powered the Genesis, the Amiga, a few other platforms like M2. They have been doing it for literally decades, and they've been doing it with tender, loving care. This is going to be the most perfect version of any of these games that you can play outside of original hardware, because that's their reputation and that's what they build on. But it's also things like, hey, you want to play the international version? You can play that. Want to play the Japanese version? You can play that. Want to play the arcade version of Sonic the Hedgehog? We've got it on here.
Okay.
Want to play, and all those little tweaks, all kinds of quality of life stuff on, do you want to play with scan lines but without filters? Do you want to play with that? Do you want to play with that? Plus time attack modes. They add the spin dash to Sonic 1.
Okay.
But you can also turn it off if you want to play it original style. But they implement it, and it does change the game. Lightning Force is one of the Thunder Force series. Did you ever play Thunder Force?
I never did. No.
Oh, great horizontal shooters. Do you like Thunder Force?
absolutely.
Lightning Force is a great game. It's a horizontal shooter where you can also move up and down, but the screen scrolls with you up and down
cool.
too. Great weapon selection. They built kids mode in so that if you're just like me and you're terrible at shooters and you just want to see the game and play a more challenging version of it, they have that, or less challenging version of it.
Sure.
It's still fun. They have that. We are going to get one shot at this. Sega Ages used to suck, and then they put M2 in charge of things like the Treasure Box and other stuff in the series around the PlayStation 2 era, and it got good. Now they're saying, look, here are these games a la carte that you would buy in a compilation, one of 40 for $40. And people are going to go, why should I pay extra money for this? Because this is not a ROM dumped in a decent emulator. This is a perfectly crafted museum piece, boutique piece of software that will be as close as you can get to living that experience. And if we don't buy them, they're not going to keep making them. So please, please, please buy these.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yes.
if I can add to that, they added the drop dash to Sonic 1 from Sonic Mania, and that can make anyone look like a goddamn pro at Sonic. Like, I saw someone who I knew had their copy of the game for all of 10 minutes, and they posted a video on Twitter where Sonic literally never touches the ground through Green Hill Zone. And I'm like, dude, how good are you? And he's like, oh, there's a fucking drop dash. It's like really easy.
Yeah, that's freaking rad. But you can turn it off. And you can turn it off.
and
It's
that's
awesome.
the thing.
Yeah.
You can take all these new enhancements and turn them off so you can play like the classic way of playing these games. It's great. And Phantasy Star is coming.
Yeah,
Which,
with auto mapping.
Yes.
With auto mapping.
thank God.
And that's the quality of life stuff. They found ways to improve these already excellent old games and not take away the feel of the real experience.
Jared,
Yeah.
is Ghosts and Goblins improved?
No, Ghosts and Goblins still sucks, and I'm still playing it.
Why are you still playing it then? You were bitching about how we have no time for all these games.
I know. I was on vacation. I brought the NES Classics along with me. They worked for 7 days and then didn't work the last day because I hadn't synced with the network.
Sure.
Just like they promised me. There's a lot better games than Ghosts and Goblins. The arcade Ghosts and Goblins is great. There's other great Ghosts and Goblins. The NES port of Ghosts and Goblins sucks, but I am obsessed with it. I just want to win. I want to win. And I keep playing this terrible, punishing, janky, horribly designed, awful arcade port because I want to rule the world.
Okay.
The end.
Stop.
Update
Be
next
better.
week.
Be better about yourself. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Look at this. The
The-
kegerator is working. It's no longer leaking. We don't think.
I can't have it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
man.
You want a beer?
I
That's
am
my
always
man.
down.
Here,
you got-
cheers
if
to the kegerator working. Can I get a glass of water too? I hate
Cheers.
doing the thing to my body of, hey, we've been drinking coffee for 5 hours and now we're going to switch to a beer. You know what I mean?
Is there any whiskey laying around? I can have that. No,
There isn't?
okay.
Come on, Kev.
there's
Have some
gotta be.
fun today, will you?
This is games journalism. There should be hard liquor.
Exactly, right? Look at us doing God's work. Here's what I'm proposing. And when I say proposing, I just mean it's happening. I'm sure many of you have been waiting with bated breath for us to unbox these two guys.
Yeah.
Centipede, C64 Mini.
Yep.
That's now post-show content.
Oh!
We've had such
Oh.
good discussions, and we have good reader mail, and we have a great mobile gamer bullshit coming up. I don't think we have time to put that in there and do that way. So that's going to be post-game content. So if you want to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can see it in the video version that was posted on Friday.
Greg Miller throwing up the paywall.
Nothing like I've learned a lot from watching the video game industry. Oh, you wanted this content? Fucking pay me for it. You know what I mean? Or you can go and retweet 75 tweets and I'll give you a Greg buck. And if you get 20 Greg bucks, you can unlock the content.
You get 20 Greg bucks. You get a chance to
1,500
open the
retweets
loot box that
that
might
has the
contain the
video.
unboxing.
I want to do some reader mail. I put it up, of course, on twitter.com/GameOverGreggy, of course, because that's just what you do on the Gamescast when you need reader mail. And Chris Becker wrote in with a good question that I liked. Or not even a question, right? But like this whole thing. Chris Becker has this discussion point. How crazy is it that in 20 years, my children will look back at Fortnite the same way I look back at GoldenEye on the N64?
Oh my God.
As a warm experience that's like also janky and painful.
I mean, think about it. Probably.
Yeah.
Think about the
Yeah,
quality.
there will be this deep love for Fortnite, which I mean seems silly right now, but I mean,
Really? You think that seems silly?
I think it seems silly to look fondly upon Fortnite as the ghost of video games past. Yeah.
What do we have here?
It's brown liquor. Bourbon.
Yeah. What is it?
He put ice on it. That's all he's saying. Is he didn't know if you wanted it neat or...
you put ice in it?
Yeah.
You don't like ice in it?
Oh, why would anyone
Just
put
start
ice
drinking
in
fast
whiskey?
then. Drink it fast then.
Dude.
Oh man.
I'm give back.
Chug
All
it.
right.
Exactly. Chug it. The ice can't get you then, you know? Thank you, buddy.
Can't be watered down if the ice doesn't melt.
Exactly.
Wow, why would you ruin? Why would you ruin
water's
good
not
whiskey
bourbon,
with
yeah.
water? And
Drink
okay,
it.
anyway,
It's-
I interrupted you. Sorry about that, Steve.
Oh,
Oh wait, Kevin interrupted us. I'm just apologizing.
Well, you could have just
It's not my
taken it
fault.
and been a
Yeah.
man about it, but you wanted to derail the whole show.
I didn't take it because I was being a man about it. It's a proper way to take your whiskey, and that's
Wow. So
neat.
you don't like female
Whoa.
characters in games, and
I
then you're gonna
love
sit here
female
like you're gonna be a
characters in
man.
games.
You're gonna emasculate people like that.
No emasculation
fighting
going on
words.
here. I know what you're talking about.
I can't pin him down. I try to pin him down. I can't pin him down.
I was pointing out my own manliness, not taking away from someone else's.
right.
And as for female characters in games, that's my default. So
ooh,
All right, let's all settle down.
putting the
for a second.
kibosh on that shit.
Chris Becker, how crazy is it that in 20 years, my children will look back at Fortnite the same way I look back at GoldenEye on the N64?
So thinking about it in the current context, it seems a little crazy, but I mean, our kids, my kids that do exist, like look at me.
How many kids do you have?
I have two. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Congratulations.
And both of them look at me like I'm crazy when I'm playing like old games like Mario 64.
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
I tried to get my 5-year-old because she's at that age now into the NES Classics when that came out on the Switch, and she was like, "No,
It's a baby's game.
Yeah, put Skylanders on, Dad." And I was like, "This is it. This is what you'll grow up with." And you'll be like, "Oh, I loved Skylanders." I'm like, a part of me is dying.
Did you think at all when you had them, and you obviously video games are such a huge part of your life, of like slowly peeling it back, where like you just gave them an NES and like they hadn't seen anything else or something?
Oh,
like that?
absolutely. And that was that attempt, really. So I initially wanted my daughters to avoid getting too into games too early. I have a lot of debate about that because I know who I was when I was a kid, and I was the kid that they're like, "Oh, hey, prom's tonight," and I'm like, "Fuck that, Final Fantasy VII's out." Like,
Yeah, right, yeah.
I got to get to level 99, and so
You turned out pretty all right.
I think so, maybe, you know. But yeah, so I put my daughters in front of some old NES games initially to see
Yeah.
if they even wanted to play them, and she did. So she played Super Mario Brothers a little bit in that she moved Mario around, managed to kill a Goomba, and thought it was pretty cool. But the minute she saw anything remotely approaching modern, she's like, "Well, that is trash," and I want to scan toys and watch them show up in my game,
Right.
Dad.
Okay.
And so, you know, I don't think it's crazy in the sense that, yeah, 20 years from now, people will love whatever they'll
be nostalgic for what they grew up with, right?
Exactly. And just the way we're nostalgic for the NES or whatever we started with, the Master System, the Genesis, people are going to be nostalgic for whatever brought them into the fold. And that'll be Fortnite for a whole ton of people. But yeah, to somebody who didn't grow up with Fortnite and who enjoys Save the World, I do not want to. I couldn't see myself being nostalgic for it 10 years from now. I'll say, man, that was a fun game while it lasted, and
Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, there we go.
I spent it.
Oh, I hope you did. Did you really?
No, of course he didn't.
No, but I put my tongue in it.
He didn't do that
that's even
either.
better.
Oh.
So I've been working on an article called "Why Fortnite is Good."
Okay.
And I've been putting a lot of thought into this because
It's just be a sentence. Games are fun.
I'm not a big Fortnite player.
Sure.
But I find Fortnite fascinating, and I do believe Fortnite is actually not just a very important game, but a very good game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that I have nostalgia for some bad games. I talk a lot about old games on here, but most of the ones that I care about are good. There are bad exceptions, Ghosts and Goblins.
Sure.
But by and large, they are good games that I happen to love, but a few bad ones. I think Fortnite deserves its success, and I think its nostalgia will make sense for people because it's such an inherently social game. It's such an inherently available game that it's a game people are going to associate with friendship. It's a game that people are going to associate with teamwork, victory, or noble defeat, getting close and then dying in interesting, funny ways, being disappointed together and hopping right back in next time. There's a lot that people are going to be able to latch nostalgia onto.
Well, not to mention, right? Like I think it's easy to look at it now, Fortnite, and I can see 20 years from now I love the 2010s or whatever the fuck it's going to be, right? And it is like the Fortnite segment is it's not going to be the video game nerdy part that I love talking about. Of like this game was it's fucking in development forever, dead on arrival. It's copied the PUBG. Everybody thought it was stupid, and then it exploded. It's going to be these people being like, oh man, and we used to dress up as at Halloween as them, and I'll never forget the first time I was watching my NFL team and they did a Fortnite dance in the end zone. You know what I mean? Or when it happened in FIFA, and like, because it's a cultural phenomenon at this point, right?
I agree. I think that Fortnite it touches Minecraft in that way. Minecraft kind of stepped over that, but because it's free,
and that's the thing,
far more widespread.
For a lot of people, too, Minecraft, right, is going to be their GoldenEye. We're talking about nostalgia. We play all these games, we get hung up on it, and then I don't think about the fact that the reason The Last of Us is so amazing and Neil Druckmann's making all these amazing games is because 30 years ago, right, he sat down and played an NES or whatever. I'm not his fucking biographer. Whatever Neil sat down and played that made him go, man, video games are rad. And to sit down with something as primitive, but now by comparison, as we all did, whatever, for me, Ghostbusters on the Sega Master System, where I was like, this is my life.
God, that is such a good game.
Right? And I'm like, this is my life, but think about me doing that and then where it's all changed, and sit there and think about a kid now sitting down and having access to all this, what it's going to be. Now, what I want to put into this conversation, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but Chris asked that question. Eric Oliver asked another. You initially said, we're going to look back and it was a fun game, but it was janky or whatever. And I was like, yeah. Eric Oliver says, you should go super high level today. What do you think the video game industry will look like in 20 years? That's the same thing of when I was sitting there playing Ghostbusters on Sega Master System, right? I was never thinking it would be like it is now.
Oh, yeah.
So like when people do look at Fortnite 20 years from now, I can only imagine the things they're going to look at and be like, I can't believe we put up with an inventory system like that. You had to hit a circle button to go over here to do this. Or maybe PC somehow won and it's a living nightmare and everyone's like, I can't believe people played with controllers.
Here's what I'm legitimately hoping for more than any of those. I'm hoping that we will look at this era and we'll be looking back and going, oh my Lord, how did we let people work in situations where their studio could shut down and they could have no severance?
Sure.
How did we create an industry that's built on seasonal work but didn't have Hollywood-style protections for its creators to guarantee that they would make enough money to work through the next year? How did we not have unionized studios? How did we tolerate that?
Well, we'll sit back and look at all these people like they were pioneers.
Yeah.
They were doing it for the love of the game and not, putting their families at risk, putting their livelihoods at risk.
Yeah, at some point we'll be able to wake up and go, putting our families and livelihoods at risk isn't worth it. I love the world that I live in, and I love that I get to play great games, but I'm reaching the point where when somebody tells me a story about how somebody mortgaged their house to make their video game, I'm not like, man, they were so dedicated. I'm like,
don't do that.
Oh my God,
don't do that.
I'm glad I have Cuphead, but maybe I'm the problem because I'm allowing that to happen. I think ultimately it may have to come from the consumer end. So that's a big one for me, Greg, to be honest with you.
That's what
I think
you want to see in 20 years?
The future of the industry, I think for us to have a sustainable industry, I think it's going to have some safeguards for the people who work in it, or otherwise it's going to devolve.
Interesting.
I really do believe that.
Steve, you?
20 years from now, it's almost unimaginable, right? Like, who would have thought we'd be wearing VR headsets and waving motion controllers when we were playing NES in our living rooms as children? And it's really hard to believe, but I do believe that we're already at the point of diminishing returns in terms of graphics and visual fidelity.
Right.
I mean, how much better are we going to get before it just...
And I hear you, and I agree with you. But I also feel like when I say something like that, I think about when I turned on the PS2 and I put in Madden, and I was like, this fucking looks like I'm watching it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was,
right.
And don't get me wrong, we talk about all the time the PS3 to PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, right? It wasn't that monumental leap, right? Of like, we already knew what HD looked like. We already knew this stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's going to incrementally continue to get better. What I think will be interesting is when we take for granted, hair and grass and all the stuff coming together to look perfect, right? Because it is that thing now. You look at Red Dead, or you look at like a first party like Last of Us, right, where they're going through and making every asset look great. But then you play Odyssey, and I love Odyssey, as I've said a million times. But it's like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that is a blocky texture, and that looks janky. It's like, because it is just like, well, they're trying to fucking make all of ancient Greece live at one time.
I was playing. I was in a cave in Odyssey yesterday, and I was looking at it, and I was like, wow, this does not look as good as everything else. I was like, this is the one part of the game where I'm like, yeah, that's a video game, and I'm remembering this.
And
Yeah,
it's funny for me because playing it
rocks.
in release, I was so fucking stoked they had photo mode. I love photo mode. And I went Horizon, and I was playing Horizon pre-release. It was in there too. Took a gajillion photos, but then God of War and Spider-Man patched them after the review embargo, so I'd already finished those games, so I didn't get to use them. Playing Assassin's Creed and using photo mode, what I found myself doing with a lot of shots was really playing with perspectives to totally hide the fact that like her foot's not on the ground, or the guy she's killing's face is just... You know what I mean? Like, there's like no emotion.
I'm
this
very
guy is
nonplussed.
brutally getting destroyed.
Another important one that you mentioned, the face, and this made me think about it. I do think 20 years, this is a realistic timetable. Huh? I could be sitting here having this conversation with you right now, just as we are. And if I don't stop to think about it, I won't realize I'm playing a video game. And what I mean by that is I believe that in 20 years, it's entirely possible that I'll be able to talk to an AI that'll act so much like you that I won't know the difference until I unplug. I do believe AI will have come to that point in entertainment in 20 years, that it'll be able to give a realistic illusion of thought. And that
will it have thought by then, you think?
Enough that it could pass a Turing test, yeah.
Okay.
I think so. And I think we'll be asking questions about AI rights and the fact that we've created life. And I think that will extend into our entertainment products, perhaps anywhere else. The connection between AI and video games goes all the way back to the 1960s. It was the funding for artificial intelligence at SAIL and at Massachusetts Institute of Technology that ultimately led to the beginning of video games. It came out of the same people working in the same labs. And I think it might happen here before it happens anywhere else in terms of because we'll be willing to absorb it first. We'll be the test ground. When somebody finally has AI they're ready to unleash upon the world, they'll do it through games first, I think.
Sure.
And because we're ready, we want it. The rest of the world's scared of it. And by the way, I'm scared of it a little too. But I think 20 years from now, this will be a big part of it. Games that dynamically adjust, that think about what we're doing. Like take the AI director of Left 4 Dead and multiply it times 1,000,000.
Right.
We can expect that.
That'd be awesome. Because that's what I think as we talk about Red Dead or Odyssey or any of these open world games with choice. We always talk about the fact that it's awesome in this, and there's so many articles about it's the illusion of choice, right? Like you're making these things. This is what I was talking about. Coloring book page. We all have the same page. We just all fill it in differently, and so our art looks different at the end, and we had a different experience. But in the end, we do have the same ending right before credits. To get to a game that is changing on the fly and doing stuff to where you never see the flow chart, you don't understand it. It's something that like you had to do all these different little things to get to this part and have them react to you that way, right? Because even in Assassin's Creed right now, where I'm like, it's like, do you want to fight him? Do you want to tell him off? Do you want to beg? I'm like, well, all of these are going to lead to the same thing. I'm going to get whatever item I need to give to the guy to be done with it. So it's interesting for like if a quest could really dynamically shift that way and change. Yeah. I like the way Chris put the initial question of like that somebody's going to look back at this the way we look back at GoldenEye. And that I think puts it into perspective of like how much fun we were having with GoldenEye, but I don't think we... with the weird ass controller layout, all these problems, but it's like at the time we didn't know any better.
Well,
so
even when GoldenEye was contemporary, I mean, if you were playing Quake, you knew you were playing a weird anachronistic game. It was just still fun, so it didn't matter. You knew you were playing the lesser game. But we would just play in the computer lab Quake until the lab closed, and then we'd go back to the dorm and play GoldenEye. Yeah. And we knew it wasn't as good. but it was good enough.
Right.
And that's a part of games that I think won't change.
Good
20
enough.
years from now, good enough is still going to be good enough. Yes, there might be AIs that dynamically change the universe, and I can plug in and talk to a Greg Miller that looks like you and acts like you and talks like you. But Super Mario 3 is probably still going to be fun.
Well, that's what I love about our industry right now is the fact that, hey, guess what? Red Dead, we'll assume, is going to be Game of the Year contender. And if it's not, God of War is, right? Like, all these AAA, millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. There's still going to be, this year, on a lot of Game of the Year awards, right? That slot, that is NER 5 or whatever, that is Messenger or / Celeste,
Yep.
right? Here's
Right.
this little game that did something that people weren't expecting and gets to contend with these games that were hundreds of people, multiple years.
Yep. Messenger, Celeste, Florence, all of those are going to be on my list high. Definitely.
Siri's trying to
Absolutely.
come to life. Siri's listening. Don't let her know that I know she's listening. Don't listen to her. Let's get one more in here, all right? Tweet_Fuzz says, seeing as how Steve is with you today, I'll ask you this. Nintendo is typically poked fun at due to the things it hasn't caught up on in today's industry. However, what do you think other companies can learn from Nintendo? Much love, Peaches.
Wow. So yeah, Nintendo is admittedly behind the curve when it comes specifically to online and more modern conveniences in gaming, but there is tons that Sony or Microsoft or the bigger platform holders of the world could learn from Nintendo. And I think the biggest thing is how to love your IP.
Great one.
Nintendo is the master of creating memorable characters and treating them the right way, putting them in the right games at the right time. You don't really hear a lot about controversy with depictions of Mario or Link. A
lot of Bowserette lately.
Yeah, the internet's boner for Bowsette is
Oh no, I'm just
troubling.
I'm just flashing to all the screenshots of Pornhub that people have put up.
Sure.
About
Yeah,
Bowser.
yeah,
They put out a press release about it. They're like, hey, do you want to see our search statistics for
Yeah.
Bowsette? And I was like, no, thank you.
That's why I was giving you that look. I was just
Okay.
like, oh.
Yeah,
the Lord
I had a
would
friend who works at a game company that shall remain unnamed in Japan, and he was telling me, he's like, all our artists are drawing Bowsette, and it's fucking gross. he's like, they're all talking about what kind of stuff they're gonna sell at Comic-Con this year, and I don't like any of it.
That's funny, so.
I was like, you can just do that at work, and he's like, in Japan, you can.
Nick talks about stuff like that here all the time.
All the time.
All the time. But I digress. What do you think they could learn?
So
I think treating your characters with care is a great part, or IP. And I like that. I think this has been the year, I'll say all 365, or no, 2 years, of PlayStation kind of doing it, right? Of like,
Yeah.
all right, Aloy's a new face. All right, Drake's getting his last game. Spider-Man's in our stable. Here's a Kratos you can connect with and care with and his son. Like, they're doing a great job of evolving.
Oh, right. They're definitely trying to chase Nintendo in that regard.
Yeah.
I think Microsoft still has a really long way to go with that.
Sure.
I mean, I like to joke about how, 2 E3s ago at their press conference, they were talking about their rich characters, and they had like Lara Croft and Master Chief, and they fucking ended it with the car from Forza. They're like, and we have a car. Like, we can't even get 5 characters up here. We had Blinks, but we euthanized him a while ago. So I think that characters and IPs are really important. They can't be underestimated. I mean, just look at Sega if you want to see an example of a company who didn't care for their wonderful IPs and it destroyed them in the long run.
Yeah.
I mean, Sega had a stable of characters that could easily compete with Nintendo, and they had them on the ropes in the 90s, with games like Shinobi and Alex Kidd and Sonic.
Well, let's stop with Alex. I agree with everything else you said, but Alex Kidd. There was never a time Alex Kidd was a threat to Nintendo.
Oh, well, no.
Alex
I
Kidd
agree.
is still a threat.
Alex Kidd is so derided even within Sega circles that in Sega he works at the snack bar in Sega.
That is true. That is true. But for a while, he was the de facto
maybe
mascot of
it's something,
Sega
right?
until a certain blue hedgehog came along and showed him what's up.
And he's a great character. I mean,
Should've been
Sonic
Nick
is
from
a
Ghost House.
great character.
Oh, yeah.
He's not just a great video game character. He's he's a Mickey Mouse level character. He's fantastic.
and he's only getting his due very recently with Sonic Mania. So
Yeah.
But as far as other things they can learn from Nintendo is how to approach younger gamers. I mean,
Good point.
PlayStation and Microsoft are definitely not the best at catering to those under the age of, say, 15. Nintendo has done a great job marketing their hardware and their games towards, they've got this family-friendly image ever since the 90s, which they've managed to maintain while simultaneously publishing gory, mature games, which is something that Sony and Microsoft haven't really been able to.
What would you put on the list? Like Mad World, obviously, but
oh yeah, Mad World. But I mean,
they didn't publish Bayonetta, did they? They just
Nintendo.
It was exclusive. Right,
Nintendo has some kind of publishing deal with Bayonetta. I think they funded it. They might not have published it, but they definitely threw money at it.
They published Last Story in the States.
Yes, they did. They did. I'm trying to think. There are
those are examples.
I mean,
I'm just floating out the. I just wanted to
right and comparing them to the Nintendo of old that didn't allow blood, censored Mortal Kombat, that kind of thing.
Right.
Nintendo's come a long way in that regard, but has still managed to maintain that they're the family choice.
Right.
And so I think that that's something that Sony and Microsoft could really do a bit better with.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the interesting thing is I feel. There's this weird gap where I think Nintendo gets them young, right, and can be there, and everybody loves it. And then I feel like, and don't get me wrong, they have Minecraft and they have Fortnite, but I feel like that's where you get into that tween age. That's the kind of games people are. It seems like kids are looking for. I don't have a kid or anything, but it seems like that's where they're all about, right? And then you get a little bit older, and it's either your PC gaming or your console gaming, or you're back on the Nintendo train or something.
Though you say back on the Nintendo train, that would be two that I'd add to your list. One is that Nintendo, something other people could learn from, is Nintendo is better at anybody. And I think this has a lot to do with their confidence in selling you the same thing over and over again. Nintendo knows they got
making you
as a
excited
kid.
about it.
Yes.
Another Animal Crossing where I'm going to own a house that I have to pay this fucking raccoon
That's
for?
one dimension of
Wait.
it. Another Animal Crossing. But the second is that they will sell you the original Animal Crossing 4 times in your lifespan. They will sell you Mario 1 10 times.
True.
They will sell you Mario 64 5 times before you're dead. And we tend to think of that because we're old as those old games, but the games they're releasing right now, Mario Odyssey will be available somewhere else again, and people will be thrilled to see it. And even if they dropped off in their tweens, when they get in their 20s and they get a little more nostalgic, they're going to look at me and go, wait, I can get Mario Odyssey again?
Yeah.
And they know you're going to buy it again.
Yeah.
And then they know you're going to buy it again 10 years after that when it comes out on something else. And they've gotten so good at this that somehow with Switch, they're selling us other people's games again. Games we bought other places. And they're just selling them to us again, and we're buying them. And I like it, but that's one thing we can learn from. The other to steal from Jeremy Parrish, Nintendo are the kings of good enough. They understand how to release things at the perfect juncture of capability and price point. And they is it fun? Yes. Is it cutting edge? No. Is it good enough that people are going to buy it? Yes. Then who cares? Go
Right.
for it.
Right.
We don't have to rule the market. We don't have to own the marketplace. We don't even have to compete so much with Microsoft and Sony. We just got to make money. And we look at every decision. Is it fun? Does it fit our corporate culture? Is it a toy? Does it make money? Yes, 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 yes. We make it.
Good point.
Yeah. The last thing I'd add is that one thing developers, I mean, not just Sony or Microsoft, because we've kind of been picking on them, developers in general could learn from Nintendo is to not be afraid to reinvent their franchises. Zelda is a prime example of Nintendo just making broad decisions about where the series is going to go, changing the art style, changing the narrative, changing the control scheme. Zelda seems to be like Nintendo's favorite place to experiment.
Sure.
And
even Mario,
think,
right? Going from if there's going to be a 2D Mario, a 3D Mario, what's it going to, the fact that they are.
Right. I would agree. I would think that Nintendo takes it further with Zelda, though.
No, I'm not arguing. Yes,
yeah,
you're 100%
if you look at how pissed off they made the internet when Wind Waker was first announced, that first cel-shaded trailer, like everyone's like, this game is the fucking worst, and I'm never going to buy it. And then 9 months later, they all bought it.
And 9 years later, they all bought it, and they will continue to buy it again and again.
And you're right. I agree with you there. But they've done everything from, have Oracle of Seasons and Ages, effectively Pokemon,
right, Red
Zelda,
and Blue,
to Minish Cap, a game about shrinking down. They've had chain chomps.
Oh, yeah.
In them. They've had touch-based Zeldas that you couldn't control directly. They really love to experiment there. You're right.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I wish more franchises would do it. I'm really happy to see that they did that with God of War.
Right.
They really changed what that game was all about, and it was the first one that I played and enjoyed. I did not like the previous entries, but this new one was fantastic.
Now I'm just ready for my gritty Parappa reboot.
Yeah, do something with Parappa. Kevin, are you ready?
It's more game or bullshit. It's more game or bullshit. Joe's gonna read some stuff and we'll figure out if it's a real game or not.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the game show within the Kind of Funny Gamescast. It's called Mobile Game or Bullshit. Each and every week, Jared Petty brings 5 titles to us, and we decide if they are mobile games or if they are, in fact, bullshit. Jared, what are we playing today?
Today's episode of Mobile Game or Bullshit is Mobile Game or Mayfair Games board game product. Respected
Okay.
Mayfair Games, creator of Settlers of Catan and other such things.
Gotcha.
All right, but they've been around for a very, very long time. Is this a product produced by Mayfair Games, or is this a mobile game? The answers may be more difficult than you think.
Do we have one that is both?
We do.
We have one that
We
is
have
both. You
both.
understand,
Oh,
Steve?
God.
All right, so there you go. Yeah.
So you get to guess. We'll go back at the end. You guess the both one.
What's that, Kevin?
You're keeping track?
I'm on it as always. It's me versus Steve. Of course, I have never lost to Tim Gettys, and we won't talk about my record outside of that. I hate Nick Scarpino.
All right.
Better than you.
Steve, you're going first here.
All right.
Pac-Man. Ralph Breaks the Maze. Wreck-It Ralph and his gutsy friend Vanellope meet arcade icon Pac-Man in this remastered chasing adventure. Is that a mobile game or a board game?
I'm going to go with mobile game.
Going with mobile game.
I,
Greg
too,
Miller.
am going with a mobile game.
Mobile game. Number 2, Greg Miller. Hordes of enemies. Description, it's an ambush.
I hate you. Hordes of enemies. I'm saying mobile game.
Saying mobile game.
God, he's getting it good.
I'm saying board game.
Board game. A little bit of both here. We just got one split. Back to Steve. Number 3. Rolades, and that's spelled R-O-L-E. RPGs have never been so easy.
Mobile game.
Mobile game.
I'm
Greg
saying
Miller.
board game.
Board game.
Oh, shit. One of us is losing for sure.
Number 4, Cosmic Encounter. Invite your friends to join the UFO party with customized flying saucers and special weapons. Cosmic Encounter.
This is me.
That's you.
I'm going to say Cosmic Encounter is a board game.
Board game.
But right now, it's also my front runner for both.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Greg that it's both. I'm going to say board game, though.
Board game. And finally, Steve, Saboteur. Saboteur is back in the extended and enhanced ninja game for your iOS device.
Oh, come on. That's mobile game.
Mobile game. Well, the descriptions are made up sometimes.
The descriptions are made up if it
Oh,
is
I'm
in
sorry.
fact. No, it's fine. It's fine. We should have told you that at the beginning.
Sorry. Do you want to change any of your answers based on
yeah,
that?
I'm going to change that one to board game.
To board game.
Saboteur just sounds like a board game.
Fuck. See, now Saboteur, and that could easily be both. I'm going to say mobile game on Saboteur.
Mobile game.
Dumb.
Shut up, Kevin.
You're gonna
Now,
lose again, you loser.
we have 5 here again. Pac-Man, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Or, pardon me, Pac-Man, Ralph Breaks the Maze. Hordes of Enemies, Rolades, Cosmic Encounter, Saboteur. Greg, which of those is both?
Saboteur is both.
Saboteur is both.
I agree with Greg.
Saboteur is both. Ladies and gentlemen, mobile gamer bullshit. Here we go. Pac-Man, Ralph Breaks the Maze. That's the gimme. That is, in fact, the tie-in mobile game.
Ding, 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 ding.
Tie-in to the movie. Pac-Man featuring Vanellope. What's the score so far?
We both. I'm sorry. Yeah, we both got 1 point on that one.
All
Number
right.
2,
fooling us.
Hordes of Enemies.
Oh,
It's
boy.
an ambush. Mobile game.
Yeah, plus 1 Greg. No
Greg.
points for
That's
Steve.
Damn it, you idiot. How could I be mistaken?
Number 3, Rolades. RPGs have never been so easy. Rolades, Mayfair game product.
Oh my God! Another
Suck
plus
it,
1 for
Greg.
Greg.
Oh,
Damn.
man.
Steve said mobile.
Greg is up 3.
I'm currently up 3-1.
Look at this. Number 4, Cosmic Encounter. Invite your friends to join the UFO party with customized flying saucers and special weapons. Cosmic Encounter, the famous Mayfair Games board game.
We both got 1 on that one as
All
well.
right.
Nicely done.
So now, yeah, right now it's 4-2. Me.
4-2. And finally, Saboteur. Saboteur's back in the extended and enhanced ninja game for your iOS device. Saboteur, the famous Mayfair Games board game.
Damn it.
And the iOS game about a ninja. That's right, it's both.
Wow.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, I won't lie to you. I'm impressed because this is not only. Oh, I'm impressed with myself. Not only is this my second perfect game of all time.
Yeah.
This is the first time since we introduced the 2-pointer that I got it as well.
Nice.
Meaning I have 1, 2,
Ooh.
3, 4, 5, 6 points. I am
Greg
the winner.
Miller, I think that
I am
deserves a round of
unstoppable.
applause.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Steve has 4 points. 100% and the daily double.
Oh man!
Yeah, that's a really good
It's the
performance.
beat that one time, though.
Fuck off, Kevin. Play the song. Are
you verified yet?
It's mobile game or bullshit. It's mobile game or bullshit. Just gonna read some stuff and we'll figure out if it's a real game or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for ideas for Mobile Gamer Bullshit. So, hey, shoot me a tweet with your idea, and maybe that'll be next week's topic.
Damn, the well is dry.
With all due respect, we played the outro song. We were done talking about mobile gamer bullshit. You keep your shit inside the fucking parameters, right? That's your lane, right?
You know
there,
what?
right? What?
I do what I want.
Ah, damn,
Oh,
Stone Cold! Stone Cold! Steve, you've been amazing this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Where can people keep up with you and all your work?
You can follow me on Twitter at Steve M. Bowling, or follow me on Nintendo Life, nintendolife.com for all the latest Nintendo news and tidbits, along with the occasional rumor and a daily YouTube video by our man Alex Olney.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Remember, each and every week we come to you with all the things we love in video games. You can get it each and every Friday on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can also get it live on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, usually Thursday when we record it, for just $1. However, if you have no money to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or podcast services around the globe to get it for free. However, you don't get the pre and post show. The post show where we're about to unbox the C64 Mini and this Centipede arcade machine. Until next time, Tim Gettys is still probably dead in the monkey forest. We've been your hosts. We'll see you around.
Oh, I hope he has monkey stories when he comes.
Oh, he's gonna have monkey stories. Thanks for watching the Gamescast, everybody. Click right here to subscribe to Kind of Funny Games. Click down here to support us on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Click over there to check out our sister site, Kind of Funny. You can go there to see MCU interview, Spider-Man interview, all that jazz. And click down there for Kevin's fun hole. What's he put there? Nobody checks. I don't even know if these go anywhere ever.
Dude, call it something else.
Go to Kevin's bunghole fun hole.
No, that's worse. You did the worst thing.
Go to Kevin's what? No.